Okay. So let me say this. Let me say this because I maybe we see it two different things. I personally have seen too many times of people saying, "I apologize. I apologize. I apologize." I've seen it too many times. At a certain point, when I sit there and ask you, "What are you apologizing for?" I need to know what you're apologizing for because I need to know what the hell you sorry for. Are you sorry just to move this along so we can just talk like normal, or do you really understand what it is that you did to offend me? So you understand, please do not do that again. I'm not
Here's a
putting
distinction.
pressure on you to make you
Here's the
feel bad.
distinction.
No, I'm
Here's the
just let me
distinction,
listen
brother.
because that's what the deal is. This you said if you came on this show with Tracy and you apologizing to her, and Tracy goes, "Okay, I need to know what you're apologizing for." Well, wait a minute now, you need to know. Yo, I need to know what the hell you
That's
apologizing
not what I
for.
said.
Okay,
I'm saying if I apologize, and she said, "What are you apologizing for?" I'll give her that statement. But if you're
okay,
asking for me to explain to you why I'm sorry and all these different
no, no,
shits,
no, that's
now
just
I gotta
that's
put
just
on
it.
my
That's
I
just
gotta
that's
put on my sackcloth and all that.
no,
I'm
we're not
not
doing
doing
that.
that shit.
I'm not
This
doing
is
that.
what I'm
No, no, no,
saying.
no. I get that.
This is what I'm saying. I'm saying if someone apologizes to you, you decide for yourself, regardless of their motivations, regardless of any other shit, you decide for yourself. Do you believe this person is sincere or do you not? If you believe this person is sincere, you don't need a whole long ass explanation because they won't do it again. And if
Okay.
they do it again, you hold them accountable. But if you want this long ass explanation, what you just want a pittance? You want your pound of flesh? And to me, that defies the purpose. That
I
just means
agree.
I
I
didn't agree.
agree
I
with
didn't
you on
believe
that.
you were
I agree.
sincere. So in that case, I reject your
Um,
apology.
I agree. I agree with you on that.
yeah.
I'm just
Oh, am
saying
I gonna
from
take this a whole different way? I'm gonna take this a
wait a minute, Tracy. Let me
whole
say this
different
real
way.
quick. I agree with what you're saying, Theus. I'm just saying from the beginning of this situation, like what I was saying about this grandmother. This grandmother keeps saying, I changed my perspective, but I see what everybody's saying, but
There's
I
growth
know
in
what
that
everybody
statement.
talking about, but and somebody I heard it somewhere or whatever. Somebody always say when people say the word "but," it negates
But
every sentence
bullshit.
that they said before, and that's
And I
what
think that explanation is bullshit too.
I don't because
But
It's an interjection
someone
for a
using the
reason,
word
though.
but does not mean that they've canceled everything beforehand.
it
That only
depends on
works
what
on
the
a
"but"
piece
was
of paper
for.
written in a story. Human beings
It
don't
depends
always
on
use the
what's the
right word.
content of it. Because I can sit there and say, Theus, I really love you, but I hope you go play in traffic.
So you
What
weren't
the hell
sincere.
was that? What the
That
hell
means you
was
weren't
that?
sincere.
What an extreme
But
Exactly.
if you
example,
say to me,
Marlon.
but if you say to me, Theus, I really love you, but I don't like when you talk to me this particular way. That does not cancel out that you
I
love me.
said the content. I said the
But
content
if
has
you
to do something
say,
with it.
Theus, I really love you, but I wish you go play in traffic, that does cancel out
Yeah,
the first
No,
part
I'm
of what
saying
you
cancel
said.
the
out.
the
Yeah, it's
content
context.
matters.
Oh
And
my
the con-
gosh.
Wait a minute, hold up, everybody, because good lord, we've been talking so much. We got
But
so
I
much
think the one
doggone
thing
people in here.
well,
Let Tracy speak
Go
though,
ahead,
because she's
Tracy.
been
Go ahead,
trying.
Tracy. Go ahead. Go ahead.
um, see, my faith teaches me that I'm supposed to forgive even if the other person never says that they're sorry. That is let me tell you something. That's the hardest thing to ever do is when
It's
somebody
very hard.
wants you and they never say they're sorry and you still have to forgive them. I say this constantly. Forgiveness isn't about the other person, it's about you. Are you gonna let somebody just get keep space in your head like that? No. So it's I give I agree with some parts of what you're both saying, but I think in particular case this grandmother, she keeps saying I can see it, but she's not making the changes that she needs, which is why she continually is isolated from her granddaughters, her son. her daughter-in-law, now
Agreed.
her daughter. She's not making the necessary changes because at this point she's not sorry. However,
I don't know about that. I think that she doesn't know how. It's possible that she doesn't know how.
I was getting to that because she's going to therapy, and her therapist gave her a very good piece of advice, but she said, "But that's good advice. If you keep interjecting the word "but," I can see her point. But I took him out of the will. But no.
But here's what I'll say, Tracy.
Take responsibility.
Check this out. If she's a person, which this story indicates to me she is, she's the type of person that never takes ownership for things that she does wrong. It's always somebody else, right? Because that's how the story was rolling, right? It's, oh, woe is me, right? Her getting to that point where now there's, oh, I can't see where I didn't do it the best way, but, right?
But
that is part of her growth. It's part of her growth. She has moved from 0. She is now at 4, maybe 5. We need her to get to 7 and 8. Now, if you want this part, now her family's been fed up. They done dealt with too much. They done.
Yeah, just like we
whatever, right? Cool. That's their decision to make. But this woman still has a life to live. It's not time to put the dirt on her. So, as a part of her growth story, she may not ever be able to repair the damage she's already done. But perhaps, because now she has therapy. Now she's able to at least begin to have an understanding that you are not always right in every situation. You still haven't gotten past your victimhood part. So we got more work to do, right? But you are still in the process of evolving. And if we don't allow people to evolve that we claim to care for, like people I don't care about, I'm not going to give you room to evolve. You are what you are. I've already decided what you are. This is what you are. But when I say that I care about you, I got to give you room in your growth process, for religious folks, in your spiritual walk, in your faith walk. I got to give you time to develop, right? I have to give you that room. You may not ever have a second chance with me, but you yourself are not done. You are not your worst thing. You are not the worst thing you've ever done in life. If you are strung out on drugs and you robbed everybody in your damn family, you can still recover. But you know what happens with somebody who's recovering from a deep drug addiction? They lie.
And they backslide. And they do this thing called relapse. And that's the whole point of what I'm saying is
that's what I'm trying to get at.
As long as until she makes up in her mind she's not going back, she's gonna keep doing this, but do you give up on her on the way? I didn't say give up on her. I didn't say give up on her. I never said give up on her.
But y'all were hanging up on that term with the butt thing. And the point I'm making is if she's on her growth arc, there's two things that can happen. She can say better than what she used to say, but she still uses that butt thing, which
personal responsibility.
Right. So she's not there yet. Okay. But you still say, you know what? I just can't ride with you because you say all this and then you followed up with but. You don't even mean what you're saying. So the other person is still a person. So they sit there and they say, okay, I'm still got to protect myself because everybody's number one thing is going to be self-preservation, generally speaking. So now, do I continue to put my hand on that hot fire? Do I continue to go to the people and beg for forgiveness and constantly say how I want to do better? And every time I don't quite get it right, they throw that in my face? Or do I just go ahead and go back to being how I was? Because at least how I was, I had some happy days. You know, it's like...
Yeah, I mean, I've had people come up to my face
I'm sorry,
and say,
I beat this horse.
You should have known, you should apologize. And of course, me being stupid, I ask for what? Because sometimes I say offensive things. I don't know I'm saying them until someone points them out to me. Well, you should know why you're sorry. But I don't know why I'm sorry.
Oh, that's no, because that I try not to be social. I try to keep this lighthearted and everything else. But that was the issue that we always had with people being offended by certain words or phrases or statements, and it bothers me so much because me and Theus had that the talk on our Friday night guys show. that the guy was what he was saying may be on track. It just needs a little tweaking on his perspective of things. But if you're going to sit there and go, no, man, you're just freaking wrong, man, whatever, man, I ain't going to listen to you and everything else. Okay, go ahead and burn the bridge then. How long he going to be on our side?
Thank you.
Or do you want to talk to him? You want to discuss it with him. So when some people say certain things that offends you, you don't know what the hell it was that offended them. Please explain to me what it is that offend me, because, and I'm sorry, but I have to. This is an outlier, but this is the only way I know how to explain it. Because certain things that you say offend people because of a personal history that they had. I don't know your history. I didn't grow up.
But it's still a valid thing.
And I would love to know what it is. So I'll make sure that I would never do something like that again. You wouldn't want to know?
There's a different. So here's the distinction in what I'm saying.
Boy, this
I say something to you.
Up a whole lot.
I say something to you that offends you.
Cut up to take up the whole week. Go ahead.
But I say something. I say something to you that offends you. I had no intentions of offending you. In fact, in the moment, I don't even know that I offended you. And then you point out to me that I offended you. And then I apologize for offending you. And this is a distinction. One of the things you said was, I'd be interested in knowing how exactly was it that I offended you so I can learn from it and so forth. That I can ride with, but I don't need to know about your backstory of how it became offensive. All I need to know is I use the word crazy, and that word is offensive to you. So for you, I will do my best not to use that word. But here's what we're going to have a problem with, because you guys have heard me say this in the past. This is how you turn allies into enemies. When I come to you and I say I'm just using the word crazy because to me, you guys know the context I'm coming with. So I'm using that word. So I come to you and I say something like, yo, what you're saying is crazy. Like, I'm not saying, oh, that's crazy. No, what you're saying is crazy. And then it's like, for you, in your past, you've dealt with bipolar issues. You've dealt with any number of different things where people have picked on you and misused that word in a way to hurt you. So when I said that word, I triggered all that shit that's back here, right? I don't need to know all that. All I need to know is you say, hey, that word is a triggering word for me. I don't use that with me. That's all I should need. That's all I should need. But here's where I was saying, when you turn an ally into an enemy, we have a conversation a couple months later, a couple days later, and it slips. I say it again. But you know I didn't have the intentions of it. So you call me on it. But you call me on it in such a way where you're like, well, I told you what that word means to me. You don't care about me. You're this. You read me for filth. This is how you turn an ally to an enemy. Because now I can't even try to get better at this. I'm not catching up fast enough for you. So you're going to throw me away. Cool. I throw you away too. And then now we just lost something that could have, I don't know. So I just think the word I'll use is grace. I think people need to have more grace in what they do.
I literally get what you're saying, because my trigger, not really a trigger, I just don't care for it, is the N-word. I just don't like it. I don't like to be called it and everything else. I just don't like it. And normally when I say that, a lot of people who use the N-word don't use it around me. However, some still do. Look, I can't bring it inside of me to sit there and go nuclear on you because you use the N-word around me. I may have a problem if you call me one, and I would sit there and say, look, please don't call me one. That's just not my style. That's not my thing. But you know what I do afterwards? Then I see what the other person does. Does he respect my boundaries? Or he says, F you, I am who I am, and I'll say whatever I want to. Okay, then I guess if you're going to go the route of you are, I don't have to deal with you.
Right.
I just don't. So
that makes sense to me.
I get what you're saying. That, you know, there are certain things that I just don't like. Please don't use that around me. Please do not call me that. And I guess the deal is, it's much easier to say don't call me that than to say don't use that word around me.
Right.
You're going to
just because I don't like the word doesn't mean you can't use it.
Yeah, if you use the word that, hey, what can I say?
So I can use the word, but just not call y'all that.
Not on the show.
If that's what you chose to do.
Okay.
No. And Tracy, I was just about to say, you are a perfect example of this, because you tolerate us going off on our religious tangents, and you don't go to war.
I'm just doing.
You see what I'm saying? Even though you don't agree with it, huh?
She said we can't cuss on our show.
The N word is not profanity, though. It's not.
It is very profane. The N word. For
you, but in
the
general,
N word, right? But this is where we get into differences. The N word is a word of violence. That is one of the words in the English vocabulary that if someone uses that word towards me, I have every right in my world to put my hands on you.
And for me, it depends on who's using it.
Right. So for me, 1 second, Marlon. For me, it is a word. It is a very profane word. But on your channel, hell and damn are also curse words that you do not tolerate on your platform. So, but to me, those are like not curse words. Sorry, Marlon. Good.
And I'll go one step further from what Thea's is. That word was purely invented for violence and degradation. It wasn't invented for nothing else but that purpose.
And again, that because I have a totally. To me, it's always who's saying it.
No, not to me.
And that's perfectly fine. Because you two have. If I'm around a group of my crew and we use it, okay, I believe it or not, I had a problem with this word. I had a real problem with it. My thing was, and I believe it or not, I used to call white people that word a lot.
That makes no sense to me.
It doesn't make sense, but I'm just telling you what I did. I didn't say it made sense. I'm just saying this is what I did.
I've heard a lot
of. But
because they had narrowed that word down to mean ignorant.
Ignorant, low down,
and
dirty. So I'm like,
that was not what it was invented for.
I get that.
That version of that sentence, that's a whitewashed version of what that word was invented to do.
And I get what you're saying, but again, to me, it's always the context of what you're saying. Just like when you were on my show last Friday and you dropped the H-bomb, it was like, no. I was like, Marlon, no. And you kept saying yes, yes, yes. But the context you were using that word made perfect sense. And in that instance, it wasn't profane because you were talking about an actual place. Now, if you had said, Tracy, go to H word, then we're going to have a problem. Because you're using...
have a problem with that.
No, context matters, but
context to me matters. But it's just a difference.
Context matters, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. But that word, I don't care if you do the hard or you do the light I don't care. Same word. Okay. So
stop for 1 second. Stop for 1 second. Not you when I say this, okay? It's not you. For everybody else who does this. And Tracy, I apologize because I'm just trying to be respected. I'm trying to be, nice because I know you're on the show and you don't like these type of words.
You use them anyway.
I know, but if I hear one more person sit there and go, not the R, but the shut the fuck up. It has no difference whatsoever when it comes to that word. Stop trying to make a difference out of that word. That R and the
that doesn't make it right though.
It does.
But they were still one of my favorite rap groups.
Still one of my favorite rap groups to this day. Yeah. But here's the thing though.
NWA.
So, all right. Young me, talking about like teenage me, use the word all the time. Never use the hard because there's very clear distinctions of that one. All right.
Yeah, I'm more with the GA.
But with the GA, yeah, camaraderie among friends. You know, it actually meant, hey, I like you, I love you, you're my family, you're my boy, whatever it was. But that was me as a young person. And while that's what it meant to me, it was still not what it was meant for. So it was still me operating in ignorance. Okay. So then as I got older, as they say, I put away childish things and I realized what this is. There is no positive benefit to this. There is no such thing as, well, we're taking the power from this word, because you can't take the power from that word. That word was designed for a particular purpose. It was to dehumanize and to separate you. It's to make you an other. It was to make you nothing. And so that word has its meaning no matter what we try to do with it. So as I got older, I was like, okay, well, if black folk around me are using the word, I'm not going to be the one to be like, hey, now don't be saying that word. But what I will say is, if you say it to me, I'm like, yo, that's not how I get down. Don't use that with me. You know what I'm saying? Call me fam, call me whatever, but don't do that one. Right. And that's where I function more now. I'm an elder now. Right. So as an elder, my job is to carry myself a particular way so that this is what I want to see the young people emulate. I have to be that thing I want the young people to become, even if they're not there now. Right. So I can be with a bunch of young brothers and they could be using that word left, right, and center. I'm not going to correct their speech. What they'll notice is I won't use it. What they'll notice is I use different terms for it. Right. And then, like, for example, the B word. Black women never tolerated that word growing up. Never tolerated that word. Now they use it interchangeably like people were using the M word. So, but I won't cross over there and say that because I'm not a woman. What I was going to point out from what your description you had said was how you would sometimes call white people that.
No, I don't
understand that. Yeah, okay. I don't understand that because this is a, what's the word we use? Assumption. It's an assumption. Because the only black people I've known who have used that word towards white people are black people who have gotten way too comfortable with some of their white friends. So they will say that to their white friends.
Because I'm using it in the context of
ignorant.
Yeah, you ignorant,
as a negative.
Low down. Yeah, I'm using it as a negative. All right,
so you're using it as a negative. So then that's great. That's very good. But I've known black folks who like give their white friends a pass and they use it back and forth.
No,
and
I
like,
wasn't giving out white people passes.
That would never ever happen.
No.
But then at the same time, though, now since I am using it as a negative, I certainly would not use that towards a white person because now I've just entered this into the fray.
Right.
I've just put this word into play. And so now we're going to start exchanging expletives back and forth on who can insult who the worst. And then I did this to someone who's very close to me here recently because they used that N word. And I didn't think the word fit for what they were talking about. So I was like, why did you choose that word? All the words. Why did you choose that word? And they said, well, it's because it just means ignorant and uncouth and stuff like that. I said, well, why didn't you use those words? You chose to use this particular word for a reason, right? And people start getting squirrely when you start doing that. But I'm like, really, stop and think. You know all the other words. So why that word? It's very similar to when we're on your platform and like I want to use the word damn, right? Because to me, damn means I didn't use one of the harder words.
And I'm like, no.
But you're like, no. So that means I have to use my vocabulary.
Like, y'all actually kept this rule of mine? Like, y'all act like y'all actually kept it?
We try very hard. If I slip, I call myself out as fast as I can.
But who y'all gonna succeed?
The only cuss word I have ever did on your show was the word hell, and you are correct because I was describing a place, not hell. But trust me, there has been plenty of times you have brought some people on that show that would have got a lot more than the word hell. Hell would have been the nicest word that I could have used.
Hey, I had to tell my guest who's coming back, look here, if it goes like that first time, I'm going to drop you mid-program. And I think I'm going to make that my new rule. If you use profanity, I'm just going to drop you. Be like, I had to drop them. This is my rule, yeah.
Is it like a...
your rules are your rules. Do agree with you. You have rules. You have boundaries on your show. If they can't respect that, then hey,
especially for these people talking about they running for president, you ain't gonna go on Meet the Press and start cursing.
No.
You know what? That's a good point. I think people do that in independent media because they think they can get away with it. Because if you watch independent media, I'm like, y'all got to talk. Y'all kiss y'all mamas with that mouth?
No, it's inbreeding. It's the inbreed. It's something that's inside of you. My stepdad will be around me and my mom and will cuss up a storm and blah, blah, blah. And everything had to have a cuss word after the real word that's in the dictionary. Every other word. And then I finally met his mom, and he was around his mom, and he ain't dropped one cuss word. And now that I'm older, and I do use cuss words on this show, but my mom is here, and I still can't use a cuss word around it. It's inside of you.
So here's what I'm going to do, Marlon. Next time you're in my show, which probably won't be for a while.
Invite his mama.
Just pretend that I'm your mother. And just go from there.
I'm older than you. Just put up a picture of her.
Yeah, just put a picture and be like, okay, there's my mother. Okay.
We're moving on because Tracy getting sleepy. You could tell because she's coming up with this foolishness.
I just said pretend I'm your mother. I know I'm not.
I ain't no way in the world am I older than you, but I'm gonna pretend you my mama.
The same way that Thiz is 6 years younger than me. He's my big brother.
That's just genetics. Anyway, we got 2 more videos.
Y'all something else, man.
Let's get to it. So,
no, wait a minute. Is this still the same grandmother?
Yep.
Oh, dang on it.
So we got 2 more to get through.